let me actually start, Javed Saab, with the room. You know, how important are these people in the room in terms of how important are they in setting what actually culture is, what actually art is? And I'll just tell you why I'm asking this question. You know, whenever you go to a museum abroad, or you know, whenever you'll see that a lot of the paintings you see, a lot of the dancing that you see, you know, all of the art in a sense has been dictated or commissioned or put by the top of the pyramid. It was a royal family that taught you how to dance. So this is you're supposed to dance like this. So you're supposed to. They would commission the best paintings. They would, you know, most things came from the top. On the other hand, you know, you see Gully Boy, and you see maybe what fashion is today, or even what music is today. That seems to be coming from the bottom. It is, in a sense, like a lot of your cinema was. It is in a sense anti-establishment. It is in a sense fighting the norms that have been set by the top. So does art and culture come from the top of the pyramid or the bottom of the pyramid, or both?
I think it's a two-way street, and both the things happen. The fact is that ultimately the talent, people who are in power, people who hold the money, don't have time to create art. This is for people who don't have money. So obviously...
I'm talking about art, not journalism.
No, at the most. Journalism has also become an art nowadays. So, you see, you can say that the top of the pyramid patronized, particularly in feudal times. There was so many injustice. But at the same time, of course, this is the positive side of feudal era, and the empires and the kings and nawabs and rajas, that they did patronize art. But the art was also always created by those who did not have much money. So actually, we have internalized it so much that if you see a poet or a painter having food twice in the day, you suspect that he may not be a good poet. So art is from, yes, there is a possibility that because they have developed aesthetics because of the privilege,
yes.
They have more refinement because of the education, they can influence art, but they have never created art. I don't remember any king who was a big painter. I don't remember any Raja who was a great musician. They have patronized art, but by patronizing, you don't own it.
Zoya, do you have a view?
I look at art as expression, and I think human beings express. And art is a human, like from the living forms, only humans are artists. And I think it can come from anywhere. You know, I definitely like his point of view, but I think it's expression. It's a form of expression, and we are programmed to express. So it could be an aesthetic choice, or it could be speaking out against a rule that's been set on you by someone in the hierarchy that's above you, you know?
But who has the power to make it popular more? Is it the masses that have the power to make it popular, or is it the top who kind of, what they decide, or what they patronize will become more popular? And I'm talking about art across all forms. Huh?
No, popularity is something, I mean, if it has to become mainstream and mass, you need the mass. So that could be if it comes from the top and it's something aspirational, or if it comes from the bottom and is representing people that aren't represented. So it's like, I'm just going to give you an example of my work. If it's people going to Spain because they saw ZNMD, then that's an aspirational, cultural kind of wanting to do something that they think people do. But Gully Boy is the voice from the street. And urban 20-year-old kid in a slum in Bombay has no mainstream representation. And they were representing themselves when they were making those videos and putting them out. But then it's also interesting because of the internet that they found that expression of hip hop from America. It was the American artists that the Black America, the artists, the African American artists that kind of inspired them to be able to speak out and use that, because it's a scavenger art. You don't need money to do hip hop. It's cheap. You can put it together.
Yeah.
So,
Javed sir?
Now I have, you see, it was definitely a very new question. Nobody had ever asked me this, but now I have thought about it. Art doesn't come from the top or exactly the bottom. Art in any society has been created by the middle class. Middle class that is educated, middle class that has some privilege to sit down and write or compose or do whatever. So most of the art and most of the artists and most of the poets, you will see that, I mean, the rule is not there, like Bulle Shah or Kabir were not middle class people, but most of the art is created by the middle class. Most of the good ideologies, thoughts come from the middle class, used to come, sorry, confused that. So it's a past history. That is what it used to happen. Middle class was the class that was the conscience of the society and the creator of art and literature.
So I'll just ask one follow-up to this, and then I'll behave myself, and I'll let Pratap. I just feel like I'm wasting everybody's time. Pratap say I shouldn't be holding the mic at all. But you said art is about expression, and art comes from the middle class. And from my and I just think about this, that today art is so much about expressing yourself. It's about express yourself, and all about individuality and what you have to say and your creativity. If you go back, and especially if you look at Indian classical dance, for instance, right, there was this form of art which was, in a sense, much, much more objectively beautiful. It was much, much more objectively to be appreciated. Your Bharatanatyam, you're performing the tenets or the beauties or the ideologies of Vishnu's, whatever. I don't know. It's always something beautiful, which is very difficult to claim it isn't. I mean, it's a more objective version of beauty. But today, a lot of the art is so individualized that it's now much more subjective. You might like my art, my poetry, somebody else might not. But the amount of time and effort that went into, the Indian classical art or the classical music of the West or anything, the older arts, it was much less subjective. Is that fair to say? Both of you.
I think with every generation and century, things change. And those are the rules. I look at the classic art forms as the rules. And that is what you have to know if you're in that particular field. It's like I'm in film, I will watch the classics. And they set the rules. They made it. They express their ways in the expression in a particular way. You learn that, and then you have to do your thing, because that's a gold standard, and that's there. But how do you? I'm living in a different time. My exposure is different. My reality is different. As a woman in India, I have a very different life to somebody 100 years ago. And I have to put my truth out. So I will do what that is. And only I think if you're individual and specific, will it connect? Will it stand out if it's individual to you? And it'll connect because, it's a human form. So something honest from a human being will find the specificity will find the universal, I think.
See, when you talk of individual expression, it is interesting, and it has happened. And perhaps some people have made it happen. There are many things happen in society that no group sits across a table and decides we should do that. But perhaps their instinct for survival, perhaps their foresightedness knows that this is not the right path and it is not in our interest. In India and Europe, there was a moment which was called art for life's sake, against art for art's sake. And if you remember, Picasso had put a bird in the mouth of a cannon. From there to in 30s, India had a great semi-political literary revolution that is called progressive art, progressive literature. These are the people who had the blessing of Tagore. The first meeting took place in Lucknow, presided by Munshi Premchand, and it was across the languages. There were Tamilian writers, there were Gujarati writers, there were Telugu and Bengali writers, Urdu writers, Hindi writers, and they decided that we will stop writing romantic songs and romantic stories. We have to use a pen and our imagination for social change, economic change, and for freedom of India. So, this movement continued till the 60s. This had happened not only in India, at many places. But do you remember songs like The Answer, My Friends? It's written on the wind.
Blowing.
Now you don't get these kind of songs. You see, somewhere the privileged class instinctively understood that this is dangerous. Art, music, literature can reach everybody and make them think it should not happen. So they brought and manipulated a counter-revolution that was go into yourself. You see, all this talking of politics and social problems is propaganda. This is not art. Get into your subconscious and think who you are, why are you in this universe, and so on. And we got into it, and some very bold, stupid poetry was written all over the world. And then came a time when there was a moment, a kahani, it came in Hindi, you remember that. A kahani means, why should it be a story? So what I am writing is not a story. All these experiments happen. I remember some couplets which was written by Urdu poets. चमक चमकार ने शब शीरने के मदे महकम मलफ़ इंजीरने के. It's only sound, it is gibberish. And respectable poets were writing this, known poets. So ये जो है कि आपका ध्यान social issue से, political issue से हटा दिया जाए. It has happened. आज आपकी pop music में वो गाने नहीं मिलते, in the ghetto नहीं मिलते. अब उसमें बेबी का बहुत जिक्र होता है. So, you see, and it has happened all over the world. You see the kind of films you had in 50s, दो भीगा ज़मीन और सुजाता और बंदनी, now they have evaporated. They are not there. These were the mainstream films. They were major hits. Today somebody can, go on a suicide mission and make Do Bigha Zameen, but I wonder if it will run, because they have changed the minds of people. And this is, I'm not saying that they sat down in a penthouse and decided it, but it is the instinct of the privileged class that gave another direction to art.